Okay, today I'm going to show you how to bring in a prescription on a Pro 600 Case IH monitor. The steps are going to be very similar to a Pro 700 monitor if you have that. So I guess the first thing is the prescriptions have been put on a little 2x2 card, and it is placed up here in the top left hand corner, so make sure that is in before we start. And but basically this main screen shows you the 9 categories here that we can go into. Today we're going to go into 3 of those. We're going to go into the toolbox, the run screen, and performance. So those are the 3 we're going to go into. The first thing we want to do is we want to go to toolbox, and you can see the different tabs down here. The first thing we want to do is we want to go to product. This is where we can put in what product we're using before we start in the field. And for testing purposes, we're going to use 1498 today, which we'll go up here and then we'll do select, and we want to go 1498, and we want to make sure we have the form set as seed and the crop as corn. And then we really want to make sure that this default app rate is set, and this monitor happens to be set up on kiloseeds per acre, which that basically says 30 kiloseeds per acre, which is 30,000 seeds per acre. Want to make sure that is in there for every product, and this one happens to be at 30,000. And then we want the minimum and maximum rates. We want those set at our low end of our prescriptions, clear up to our high end, which this range is 26,000 to 38,000. The next thing we can do, if we want to run a factor on this monitor, you can see that we have an RX scale factor here, which this one happens to be 1:1. But if we want to plant, let's just say 10% more on this particular hybrid, we can go 1.10 and hit enter. But for today, I'm going to go ahead and put that back to 1, so that product is still set at 1. But that's how we would change the factor for each individual product. And the next thing I just want to point out, when you're on the same screen, you can go to overlap here, and this is where you can check your start and stop distances on your row shutoffs. I thought I'd just show you this while we were in this screen, which this one happens to be set at an early start of 2 feet and a stop late at 0. But those will depend on your individual monitor and tractor setup. The next thing we want to do is we want to go back to the main screen, and we want to go to the performance tab. This is how we're going to actually bring in the prescription for the individual field. I'm going to go to this farm is called Beers North Ranch, and I might add on this particular step, your grower farm and field structure has to match your printed out maps exactly. You can't use your previous farm and field setup the way we are doing it. So today we want to be under this top one, and for farm, which happens to already be there, we want to be on that one. And then the way I have it set up is each field is its own farm, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. They're the exact same. And then here is where we want to make sure and bring in the prescription. I switched that back to none, but we do want to go in there, and here's where we're going to find our prescription, which this one says P1498 VRS suggestion. So that's what we want to bring in for this particular farm. So once we hit that, that goes ahead and brings the prescription in for that particular farm and field. Now we want to go back to the run screen and where we can view our map. I'm going to do that next. So we're back to our main screen. We want to hit run. This is the screen that we can select our particular farm and field structure, which this one happens to already be set up on this farm and field, and we are planting. So I believe run 3 here is our actual map, and here is our zone map. This one was written off of soil type and zones. So which you can see there's just one line there. And if you get to this screen and you don't see any colors, go up here on the layer button and you can go down here to RX style, which this one happens to be on outline. We want to be on color. So that'll give us a color map of our prescription, which that one happens to be green on this top end and yellow. It goes down to a lower population on the bottom end. And then you can view your legend, which this basically shows you that we have two different rates. We have a 34,000 and we have a 32,000. So that's kind of how you check yourself to your actual printed out maps. And that's how we view a prescription, and we're getting ready to go to the field, which we can go back to our run 1. This one happens to be on 0 because we're sitting in the shop. So, but that's how we import a prescription on a Pro 600.